Hi everyone, it's Andra and Karen from
I-
Kitchen Chats. And
Yeah,
if
I'm
you
actually in
like
my
what you
kitchen.
hear, what and it's
I'm
your
actually in
kitchen.
my kitchen today.
If you like what you hear or see here, please like, subscribe, and ring that bell. So Karen and I were talking before, as we always do, and we kind of wait for the last minute to decide what we're really going to talk about, because we are not scripted people. We like to just talk off cuff. So we thought family dynamics would be a really good topic because we feel that that really is the backbone of so much, that support and that system and that unit that you have within your family. So I'm going to turn it to you, Karen. What do you think about that?
Well, just to be totally transparent, I actually had a family member that was recently diagnosed with cancer, um, colon cancer. So when you say it affects the whole family, when someone gets a diagnosis, the first initial reaction is like, "Oh my goodness, does this run in our family?" Or "Let me go get tested." Or if something happens, how is that go? Who's going to support this one? Who's going to support that one? Or who's going to take this one to the doctor? Like all these plans start, going off in your mind. I know I'm not the only one. I'm sure other families go through it. And being a nurse, you see it, right? Like sometimes you have whole families walking into the doctor's appointment. You have the son, the daughter, the wife, and everything walking in. They want answers and, they want resolutions and solutions right away. So I definitely understand how one person's diagnosis affects the whole family and even like a generation back, a generation after. Because the children or the grandchildren may want to know, well, is that something I need to be concerned about, right? If so is this going to happen to me? So the stress of that all impacts not just that one person, but the whole family. And then the education, right? The clinician, the nurse or the doctor is not only educating the person who is impacted directly by the diagnosis at the time, they're educating the whole family on how they can assist and how they can support that person and motivating them that they can definitely get through that diagnosis at that time. So I understand it directly because it's something that I'm going through right now. So you're definitely correct. It's a family issue. It's a family situation whenever there's a diagnosis of one person.
I like that you said that about the clinicians. As nurses, we do treat the whole family. So and that's really ingrained in us throughout school that this person is presenting to you, but it's not him alone. It's the family. You're supporting the family. And I love that aspect of my job because when we think about people like, let's say, Alzheimer's, that's a really good example.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the family are traumatized by the diagnostic of Alzheimer's and dementia. And it's so much harder on the actual family than the person that's losing their memory because they're not so aware of what's going on. So at a certain point, they don't recognize people, but that's harder on the family than the individual. That's a good way of looking at family dynamics. And the family are like devastated, like how do they not know me? I'm their daughter. And they think they're in pain, and they worry about so much, and they really just don't. It's like almost like they retract into their minds. And it's very sad for the family, and the person that's going through it too. They really change. And you see them go from very productive to almost childlike. It's very progressive. So yeah, but family dynamics has other concepts too. So if people do not have good family dynamics, then they suffer that way too because they don't have that support system. So when we look at especially in home care, you do home care, I do home care. When you
Mm-hmm.
go in, you have to look at the safety and the family dynamics of the situation to see that that person that we're caring for is really getting that quality care. If the family dynamics are intact, if they are supportive, and not just physically, emotionally, that they're there to provide the support that that person needs. As nurses, when we send people home, we can't say, oh, you got to eat better and you have to do this and you have to do that because that's really irrelevant. If they don't have access to good quality food, they can't afford that food, and they're 20 miles away from the market, they don't drive and they can't afford it. Does it really matter that we said, okay, you have to eat more fruits and vegetables, and there's no local markets in their area? So sometimes
Right.
you have to be like investigative reporter, and inside your family, you have to be that investigative reporter. Moms, pops, you have to know what's going on inside of your family. It's a different world out there today, I believe, so we really have to look at the family dynamics and make sure that we're supporting our children and our parents, if they're still alive, and really be there for one another. So I'm glad you said about the clinician, because testing is definitely something that we'll be looking at for Karen's family. You will be going for that test, because a lot of times that is genetic in someone's line. So, but it's also dietary. So you have to look at both pieces. So yeah, I'm going to be starting a Phoenix TV show, and we're going to be talking about health there, and
Oh, it is.
you'll see Karen there too.
Co-star. I know.
Yeah, you might be. I might need a co-star. And it flows very easily with you and I. So I'm going to be talking about health issues and how the body really works together. I mean, the body functions as a unit, like families function as a unit. And I think sometimes people label things as mental health, physical, emotional, but they really are one human being, and it really is one unit. And I'm going to be covering all aspects of them on my show, because I don't think one part is more important than the other. I think they're different parts of a whole. So I'm going to be looking for people that want to speak to mental health, whether you've gone through some mental health issues and how you got through them and what your support systems were like, and how you worked through that. People that have experienced trauma, I want to talk to, because I know that has a really, really big impact on people and
Mhm.
their self-esteem, their self-worth. And that does impact you on other levels, spiritually. I was depressed as a child growing up, and I felt broken, you know. So I know that emotional and that mental health does play a role in how we show up for ourselves and our families and our vocation. So,
Right.
um, so I'm going to be talking about those things in spiritual. I was telling Karen before, I think she laughed at me, that I love Deepak. I'm going to try and get him to come on my show. I don't expect him to
I'm gonna
respond,
look them up.
but I was telling her, you have to look up Deepak. He's amazing. I love him. So I said, I'm going to try and get him to come on my show. I messaged him on his website, and I emailed him, and I got my fingers crossed, because he's amazing. And he follows a lot of the same beliefs I do, that you can really heal yourself from the inside out, and that we as people have that capability, and we put entirely too much trust in other people when we are more than capable of knowing what's going on inside our body.
Hmm.
So
Well, I
just
believe
last,
him. I
I'm
believe
sorry.
him. I believe him when he says we can definitely heal ourselves. Because if you think about the times that you are depressed, right? You don't want to do anything. Like you're not even thinking possibly outside the box on what you can do to help yourself. It's kind of like it's either tunnel vision that everything's gonna go negative, or tunnel vision that everything's gonna go positive, right? So there's no like balance most of the time. I want to say from what I've seen. So if you're not thinking positive, or if you're depressed, it's like this darkness, this cloud comes over you where you're not even seeing a way out. So of course it's going to affect you physically, and then it affects your decisions, right? Like a situation that I had with one of my patients is that he had a friend that died at Memorial Sloan Kettering, right? So now this friend had a recent diagnosis of cancer. So where didn't he want to go? He did not want to go to Memorial Sloan Kettering, which is like the top notch cancer research.
I
Anybody with
know.
cancer in the world wants to come over to there, but refuse to go to that hospital because of that past experience of somebody that he knew that passed away there. So our experiences affect our decisions. So if your experience is affecting your decisions, and mentally, if you're not, um positive or not feeling upbeat, it's going to affect your decisions, which is potentially affect your health, and where you go to get help. So that's why we focus a lot, especially in our chats, and I love us for this, is thinking positive and giving back positive feedback, and knowing that there's always a way and there's a will. Like everyone said, if there's a will, there's a way. So I think positivity matters. It definitely matters.
No, I big on positive affirmations, and it was funny that you said he didn't want to go to Sloan Kettering because, ironically enough, my sister died at this hospital near where we used to live. So when my mother went to the hospital, when my mother got sick, they found her unresponsive and stuff, and she must have taken a fall in the middle of the night or whatever. But my sister kept apologizing to me, and I said, "How is this your fault? Why do you keep apologizing?" I didn't want to send her there. So then I knew. I said, it's a very good hospital, there's nothing wrong with sending her there. Our sister would have died regardless, you know what I mean? But people get that, those things in their head because of situations when they went in. And we are really only limited by the beliefs that we tell ourselves.
That
So
we hold.
yes. So if we believe we can't achieve certain things in our life,
Right.
as kids growing up, we're told you have to work really hard to be successful. And we have that culture today where, it's all about work, 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 work. I got to keep working. And
Right.
nobody really slows down and pause to relax and enjoy the now, and what if you never make it to that point because you're so focused on work, 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 you're not
Right.
really enjoying the journey and what you're meant to learn on that
Right.
journey, you know?
Right.
Um,
Mhm.
so yeah. So, and that has to do with family dynamics too, because our families are the first ones that imprint all those thoughts and ideas in us. Oh,
Right.
you got to get a real
It's
job. You
planted.
can't be a writer. What do you
Right.
mean you
You
want to
can't
be
be
a
an
guitarist?
entrepreneur. Right. Right. You need a job. You have to do this by this age. You have to do that by that age. When it's like a whole wide world of different ways to do things. But if that seed is planted at birth as you're growing it, you go from step 1, 2, 3, and 4, and that's just it. Then that's what you're more than likely to do. But I believe in opening up my kids' minds, and letting them know that there's infinite amount of things that you can do. But I do believe you should have a plan. Everything is worth a try. And but they also have proper support, right? So whenever you are making decisions in life, you do want to have a support system, or whenever you are given that like a diagnosis of anything, right? You do want to have a support system, a primary caregiver, and then a secondary and a tertiary in case this happens and that happens. Most families don't have that. Most families are not planning for a disease, God forbid, to happen, or they're not planning to be without a job and without money. So you do have to have a plan, and just open your mind, open anything. Look at you, you're a superstar.
No, I'm far from a superstar, but I like planning is big, and I like that you brought that up. Because planning is really what's going to get you there.
Mhm.
Everybody wants to get to a certain place in life, so you really have to look at where you are now and really be honest about where you want to go and say, well, why am I not there? What am I not doing that I could be doing that's going to get me to that point? And take that step, and then the next step, because a lot of us procrastinate because we don't have that good self-concept. We don't believe that we can do it, that we have to work harder and stuff like that. And that's ingrained in us too. Those are other people's stories that we have adopted of ourselves, but we don't have to live those stories anymore. We can change our story at any time and decide what we want. My husband's in the kitchen rattling around, making ice or something. That's all I hear is you in the back. That's my family dynamics. I love my hubby. He's a good guy. He's a good man, my husband. So yeah, so family dynamics is really important. So we did want to just touch on that. This is just a quick pop in and say hi and just chat to you guys and let you know that we love you and we're thinking about you. And if you have any questions, please always drop them in the comments section. And if there's something that you would like to see on my new show, something that you're not hearing a lot about and you have questions about, or a specific part of health that you're interested in, please by all means drop that in the comments too, and I will do my best to get a speaker that can really speak to that, because I want to cover a lot of topics. Health is very, very big. So I would like a psychiatrist, a psychologist, or a GI specialist. I would like all these people. Am I going to get all these people? Probably not. But I want people that can either have gone through them. I was speaking to a delightful person today that she went through trauma. She lost her son, so I'm probably going to have her on my show, because that's something that we don't expect, that you outlive your child. Honey, can you please stop playing with the dog so loudly? Not on speaker. But it's very difficult. You don't expect to outlive your child. I mean, we all lose people in our lives, but we don't expect to bury our children. So, and she was saying it's been 2.5 years, and how difficult it's been for her and her husband, and she has 4 other children, and what it's like with her, because that speaks to their family dynamics. Because you hear about a lot of people that have lost children and they've gotten divorced. They couldn't, there's a lot of blaming and stuff. So I want to see how does she work through that, because we learn from other people that, so I'm going to feature people like her too. A lot of little stuff. You can send me some ideas. All right.
I sure will send you some ideas. I cannot wait to watch you. It's gonna be awesome.
I'm really excited. A little nervous because I'm not that camera girl, but excited.
As soon as the camera turns on, I'm sure you brighten up. You'll hit the stage.
Or my mouth gets all dry, my hands get sweaty.
Well, you're gonna have some water next to you.
Yeah, I always have water next to me. You get better with time, I think. That was like one of my biggest fears was the camera. That was that I had to speak live all the time. But you get past it little by little. I'm still not totally over it. I was speaking with 30 women, friends of mine, and we were all talking about what our fears were, and everybody there felt like they weren't good enough in one aspect of their life or not, and they're all successful women. So we do get that from a lot of people, those outside stories that we were talking about, and we adapt it as our own, and we internalize things that people say to us. And it could have been something very simple someone said to you along the way in your life, and it didn't hit you at a good time. You were going through something else, and now you're walking around still carrying that luggage. So it's time to let it go. So, I like to do that inner work and see, why I feel the way I feel, and let it go, because it's certainly not hurting them anymore.
Right.
So,
exactly. I like what you said when you said be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself and know what is affecting you. Whether it's coming from the outside or the inside. Like you said, some people lament over past failures. So if you're lamenting over past failure and it's hard for you to start again, then know that, right? And then you know how to address the situation. Like, okay, I had a past failure, but I learned from it. So, and this is what I'm going to do different, and I'm going to continue to grow, and I'm going to try again. But no, again, that is what's holding you back. I think a lot of times people go through situations and they're not honest with themselves of what is really the problem. What's really the issue? If you don't know the issue, then you can't solve it, right? If you don't know the problem, like math, and I can't stand math. So just know that this is just the example that pops in my head. I'm one of those who had to take pharmacology twice. But if you don't know, if they don't give you the example or the equation, how are you supposed to get the answer? How are you supposed to work on it? So if you don't know what happened to you from birth to 40, and how it affects you, then how are you supposed to go from 40 on? You get it? And that's how we do that.
I
We have
get
this
it.
revolving door of situation, the same situation over and over again. The same guy that you don't want to be with over and over again. And how do you keep getting into that situation? It's something that you need to address.
I absolutely, I love that. I share very openly about my alcoholism. Um, I don't do it out loud, like on TV or stuff like that. But people that know me know who I am and stuff like that. I'm not ashamed of my past at all. It's made me into who I am. But people said, oh, you couldn't put down the drink. And you're the only one that diagnoses yourself. It's you who says, yes, I'm an alcoholic. I have, it's not a doctor telling you. I mean, I never had any of those issues, but people think that you go to like AA for your drinking. You really go for your thinking because you are surrounded by people. Most alcoholics feel like they're not good enough at some point in their life, and the drink hides that feelings. And there are people that have pushed down their feelings for so long that they don't know how to bring it back up, and they get lost in that cycle. And so you go to learn how to deal with those emotions. And that thinking that keeps you stuck in that place. It's one of the best things I ever did for my life, because I was one of those people that kept winding up with the same kind of people in my life that weren't supportive, that were those people that were taking all of my energy and everything I had and were not there to be a friend or anything else. Those were the people that always had their hand out and never, hey, Andra, how are you today? So, and, in bad situations, always showing up in these same kind of situations. And I said, well, at some point you could say, why do these things keep happening to me? But at another point, you have to say, what is my part in this?
Right.
What am
right.
I doing
Right.
that's attracting these people? And that was what I had to do at some point in my life, so yeah, you have to own up to your shit.
Right.
Everybody got shit. Everybody
Right.
got shit.
Exactly.
Nobody's any better than anybody else.
Exactly.
Your shit might be different than my shit, but everybody's got shit. Anybody who says they don't is just a bold-faced liar.
Right.
Nobody's without fall or without faults. I mean, and all those mistakes, start celebrating them because they brought you to where you are right now.
hmm
So if
hmm
you woke up this morning with a new day and a new attitude, a job to go to, a roof over your head, you're above a lot of other people. You're doing pretty good. So
How about the
yeah,
simple? You woke up and you're breathing, period.
yeah,
Like
that's right.
someone once told me if you're ever feeling down, just drive past a cemetery. I was like, what? But they're like, you're
I
better
like
than
that. He's
people
an
there.
optimist. He's an optimist. All
I
right,
know.
so we don't want to rattle on and on and on. So this has been Anja and this is Karen, and we love you, and we'll be in to talk and laugh at you soon. Have a great day. And if you like what you hear here, please like, subscribe, and ring that bell. Have a great day, guys.
Good one, guys.